There we are. Good morning and welcome to Facebook Live, right? Welcome to Peace Out, where we are all figuring out this piecing out thing together. I hope we are. As a matter of fact, I've had a lot of practice just this morning and trying to figure this thing out, right? Do you ever feel like you're just juggling like 900,000 things? We've got jobs, or maybe we've just got chores, there's houses, you got to clean your house, you got to cook, just daily things. It just seems like they pile up. Maybe someday we'll have all of that automated, right? And then we won't have anything to do. I'm sure that's what they thought when they created the washer and dryer, but we still have stuff to do. They created the dishwasher. I still have to load it. I have to move the clothes from the washer to the... Actually, they have a whole washer and dryer now. It'll do the whole thing. I just got to put the clothes in there. There will always be something to do. We'll never, no matter how automated we get, we will have to go get in the car for it to take us somewhere like the Jetsons, right? There's always going to be something to do. It doesn't ever feel like there's just... This is just where I am this morning, okay? And just indulge me a second or two. But does it feel like I just feel like there's so many things to juggle. I'm taking care of Chris. I've got to work. I'm working on my books. I'm trying to put more effort into that. I'm working on raising funds to publish them in Pakistan, which is blowing my mind, right? And then I'm putting my own finances in there too. But it's just all of this juggling thing, and then I get to spend time with grandkids occasionally. That's great, and I've got to clean the house. Maybe, yeah. I mean, that's just a few things. I need to get the oil change on the van. I need to. It seems like my I need to list, right? Does anybody else have an I need to list? Because it just grows. It's like no matter how many things you mark off, there's still more, right? It's never done. It's never over. And this morning I was just feeling really overwhelmed. I was just like, I just have to juggle all this. We have to juggle our fitness. You got to get a walk in every day. At least you got to get some movement in, unless you do that in your job, and that's fine too. We got to have fitness. We got to eat. We got to wash our clothes. We got to clean our house. We got to work. Or maybe we're managing finances, or managing relationships, or really managing juggling. We just juggle all these different things. Right? And I was just like, I was overwhelmed this morning. I'm just going to be, y'all know me, I'm just going to be transparent and honest, right? And I was just overwhelmed this morning. I was like, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got a couple of projects I've got to get done, and because I've got to pay the electric bill, right? I've got to pay the rent. And my mind is just runs with them so fast. And I went, wow. How does God even deal with this? Because I'm just one person juggling all these different arenas in my life. And he's looking at billions of people on the earth that are probably all doing pretty close to the same thing, even though they might not be quite as crazy thinkers as I am, right? Maybe they're not quite as anxious about all of it as I am, but how does God handle it? And you know what? He just handles it in comfort and peace. So, I found a scripture about it. I finally found the one I was looking for the other day that I thought was in Psalm 119. It's actually in Psalm 94. And it says this. It says in verse 17, Psalm 94:17 says this. Now, this is the New Living. This is where I went first, and this is why I couldn't find it. The New Living is good. It says this. Who will protect me? Oh, no, let's see. Okay, verse 17. Unless the Lord had helped me, I would have died. You ever feel like that? We're probably not going to die from our overload of stuff, right? But he does help us. He helps us. He keeps our soul alive. He quickens our soul. He quickens our spirit, right? Unless the Lord had helped me, I would soon have died. I cried out, I'm slipping. My soul was crying out this morning. My soul was crying out, I don't have this, God. And I like to feel in control. I'm a type A. I am always in control, right? But I'm not. But I like to think I am, right? And my soul was crying this out this morning. What do I do with all this stuff? I got this and this and this and this. I was giving God my list again. And you know what? He didn't say, you gave me your list yesterday. Stop. He just listens, right? I cried out, I'm slipping. But listen to the next part of this verse. This is the second part of verse 18. And your unfailing love, O Lord, supported me. God's got us. He never says, no, we already did this yesterday. oh, we're not doing this again today. He just says, I've got you. I love that. But that's not the verse I wanted to talk about. Now, in the New Living, which is my favorite, it says this in verse 19. When doubts filled my mind, your comfort gave me renewed hope and cheer. I love that. God doesn't say, well, you doubted for a second, so go back to start and start all over because you just didn't get it this time. No, he has enough mercy for me. And I know if he has enough mercy for me, as crazy as I can be, and the stuff that runs through my head, and the craziness that goes on in a day, I know he's got enough mercy for you too. He just says, your comfort renewed me. Okay, but listen. So then I was like, okay, wait, that doesn't sound right. So I looked up a different translation. This one's Amplified. Now, Amplified, if it can be said any which way, the Amplified will tell you which way and more, right? In Amplified, it says this, verse 17, unless the Lord had been my help, I would soon have dwelt in the land where there is silence. I would have died. That's what the other one said, right? Verse 18, when I said, my foot is slipping, your mercy and loving kindness, O Lord, held me up. He didn't say, well, you fool, what'd you get over there for? It's your own decisions. You did this to yourself. Well, and we did, but God doesn't say that. It just says his mercy and loving kindness holds us up. Isn't that what's chasing us in Psalm 23? Goodness and mercy will chase me, follow me, chase me closely all the days of my life, right? So his mercy and loving kindness are right there when we stumble, when we fall, when we mess up, when we think we can't handle it anymore. He doesn't give up. Okay, but here's my favorite, verse 19. It says this, in the multitude of my anxious thoughts. There, I found myself in the Bible right there. In the multitude of my anxious thoughts within me, your comforts cheer and delight my soul. When I'm anxious, God doesn't say, well, when you get it together, I'll be happy to help you out. But until then, just chill. He doesn't say, take a chill pill. He doesn't say, look, I don't even know what to do anymore. Didn't we talk about this yesterday? Didn't you already cross this last week? No, he just has mercy and grace and else was it? Goodness and comfort. He brings the peace when we need it. Matter of fact, it's always right there. It's our anxious thoughts that distract us from the peace that he's already given us. Maybe I should just say me. It's our anxious thoughts that disrupt us when we forget about his loving kindness because we get our focus off on all these things I've got to do. And I do have a lot of things to do, right? We all have a lot of things to do in a day. They distract us, but his mercy is still right here. It's kind of like the storm. Jesus calmed the storm twice with his disciples in the boat. And the one, Jesus was in the boat with them and he was just sleeping. So he had total peace in the middle of the storm and they were like, hey, wake up, Jesus. We're about to die. And that's kind of how my soul was this morning. Wake up, God, I'm fixing to drown here. I'm going down for the last time. If you don't extend some mercy or grace today, I'm going to lose it. And he just goes, my peace is still right here. I still got mercy for you. He didn't say, well, if y'all had rowed harder, we would have already been to the other side before the storm came. No, he just calmed the storm. He did tell him they just had a little bit of faith. At least they didn't have zero faith, right? But he did calm the storm. He didn't get up. He didn't condemn them for not rowing fast enough. He didn't condemn them for not leaving early enough. He didn't condemn them for anything. He just calmed the storm. And that's what God does for us. He calms that storm of those anxious thoughts over and over and over again. It says, in the multitude of my anxious thoughts within me, they're not God's fault. They're not even God's thoughts. It says, your comforts cheer and delight my soul. In other words, right in the middle of the anxious thoughts, his peace is right there. In the middle of that storm on the sea, the Prince of Peace was in the boat. And the Prince of Peace is in our boat today. No matter how stormy it gets, no matter how crazy it gets, actually we're going to have literal storms tonight, right? No matter how stormy it gets in this brain, no matter how overwhelmed we are with all the things we got to do in a day, no matter if we're juggling and we drop something, the world will not end. God has got us. And he's not going to throw us away. He's not going to say, if he's not going to should on us. He's not going to say, well, you should have done this or you should have done that. Or if you had just done that. People do that a lot, right? If you had just done this. Because we know that if we had just done, we know I should have done this. We're real quick to condemn ourselves, but God will not. He just inserts his peace. He just wakes up and goes, peace, be still. Calm the storm. Then he can talk to us once again. And then when we accept that peace and we let it rain, we just go, this day will work out just like the other 364 days did in the last year. We'll work out, we'll live. God's got us. That's why we can peace out. Peace out no matter what you're juggling today. God's got you. Peace out. So hope I said something that made sense. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.